130, presented by Save the Game Media. I am your host, Kevin, and today I am joined by a very special guest. He is the creator of the All N YouTube channel and podcast, host of Keep Nintendo Weird and the Nintendo Drive over at Carpool Gaming. The only thing more impressive than his beard is his knowledge of Mario lore. Please welcome to the show, Seth Sturgill. How are you doing, my friend?
Hey, buddy. I love that intro, and it is true. I know a lot about Mario lore, but you know what? I'm happy to be here on an Xbox podcast with you. You and I have never podcasted before somehow, so this is awesome. And I live in Nintendo Land a lot, as you said. I do a lot of Nintendo content on the internet, but I have a lot of love, especially for the original Xbox, Kevin. I have a lot of deep-rooted Xbox love. The original Xbox is probably like in my top 3 consoles of all time. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Oh, that's what I like to hear, all right? Not often. I like to invite all walks of life, walks of gaming to this podcast. And not often do we hear original Xbox top 3 of all
I love
time,
it.
all right? What's your favorite Xbox franchise if you had to pick?
Um, it's interesting. I brought a little show and tell, Kevin.
Ooh.
I have a couple of original Xbox games at arm's reach that I grabbed off of my shelf to share with you today. I don't know if you would necessarily call it an Xbox franchise at this point, but my favorite original Xbox game, and probably my second favorite game of all time, is Jet Set Radio Future.
Ooh.
And I'm looking forward to talking about Jet Set Radio later on in the show today.
Yes.
Another one that is a bit of a deep cut for people is Phantom Dust. This is a classic original Xbox game, fantastic, and you can play. I evangelize this game any chance I get on an Xbox podcast. You can get this for free right now on your PC and your Xbox. You can play this in 4K for free. Phantom Dust, one of the best games on original Xbox.
I didn't know that. I didn't know it was free.
Yeah. Also want to shout out Brute Force.
You're
A
bringing
great
some bangers.
and Breakdown, Kevin. Breakdown.
Not familiar with that one.
This is a first-person game where you get infected by a virus and you punch people and eat burgers and throw up. It's very good. It's
Wow.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
So normally people come on and are like Halo, Fable, Gear, the classic, the three that Xbox have, right? So I like to see the variety of things, especially with Jet Set Radio, obviously a big one, and we're going to
Yes.
talk about a little more later. But Phantom Dust, I know Miles Dompier will be very happy. He's a huge fan of that game. I don't know if you're
So
ever seen
good,
him,
dude.
but he loves that game. It's like his. Weren't they going to remake that at one point?
Yeah, they had announced they put out this like CGI teaser for either a new one or like a complete remake of the first one or whatever. Wound up scrapping it because me and Miles and 2 other people probably bought the first one. And there's not a whole lot of it's a cult classic. It's very much a cult classic. The reason I got this game at all, it launched at $20. When it came out, it was $20 brand new, and I was a broke kid, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. And it had this cool like anime art, and I was like, yeah, I'm all about this, and I love that game. And so what they wound up doing, though, after they scrapped the remake, is they just released the uncompressed original version of the game. This game was made by Yukio Futatsugi of the Panzer Dragoon series, and his team had developed assets for this game in 4K back in like 2001. Like, at extraordinarily high resolution. So when they ported the game to modern consoles, they didn't have to do anything to it. The resolution was already at 4K.
Wow.
It's wild.
That's awesome. That's a neat little tidbit I did not know.
Yeah.
Very,
Yeah.
very exciting. Yes, Lachlan. Seth does know things about Xbox.
Hi, Lockcliffe.
Hi, Lachlan. For anyone who is unfamiliar with this podcast, we are live every Thursday right here on YouTube. If you can't catch us live, we post every Friday morning on all your favorite podcast service. So while you're there, please drop us that 5-star review. Helps us in the algorithm, and we got to get boosted up there. So when you type Xbox, it shows our podcast among the greats. If you would like to interact with us more, please come join the Discord. That link is down below. And if you want to support us and get early access to all Save the Game Media content and exclusive bonus post shows, head over to patreon.com/SaveTheGameMedia. Choose the tier that's right for you, like our current Patreon supporters. So thank you to Bucky Blue, Hopple, Amon, Fabulous Brianna, Brianna's mom, Brianna's brother, Brianna's wife, Nikolai at Night, Cypher Primus, Brendan Myers, Marcus O'Neill, Lillian, Mimi J, The Snack Network, David Hotright, Dave Harp, and the Xbox Expansion Pass. Thank you all for your support. We appreciate each and every one of you. But Seth, you're new here, but we start every show the same exact way, and that's by me going around the room and asking one question. That question is, what have you been playing?
Oh man. Okay. So Kevin, I'm gonna be real with you. Not a lot. Okay.
Ooh.
Haven't had a whole lot of time, but I'll tell you two games that I have been playing in recent weeks that are both on Xbox. The first one is Diablo 2 Resurrected, because I played the Diablo 4 beta, got absolutely hooked on it. And then, like, in the midst of all of that, got COVID. So I was dealing with that, and I was sort of just looking for something to, like, fill the Diablo void that was left in my heart after the beta ended. And I have done everything there is to do in Diablo 3, and I was like, I'm just going to pick up 2 Resurrected. It happened to be on sale, so I grabbed it, and I've been kind of, like, whenever I have, like, 30 free minutes, I play that. And it's very good. I mean, it's an old game, and it feels like an old game, but it's good.
It was my introduction to Diablo. The original Diablo 2 was where I got in, and I remember playing it, and I didn't know that when you died, you just ran back and got your stuff.
Yeah.
I thought when you died, you just lost everything. And then the first time I died, I was like inconsolable. Like my grandma was like, she's like trying to tell me it's okay. I'm like, I had so much stuff, and then nobody understood. And then this dude was like, just come back to your body. Like, it's all good. Like, we'll just go get it. And then they just ran me over. I'm like, wow, I feel like an idiot now. I'm a stupid child, but great game. I can't wait for Diablo 4. I didn't play the beta because I'm already in. All right. I don't need any more of it. I bought Diablo 3 day one. I'm gonna buy Diablo 4 day one. I'm gonna play the heck out of it. It's
good, dude. It's very good. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So there's that. Yeah, there's that, and then I'll shout out quickly an indie game called Even the Ocean. I don't know if you're familiar with that game. It's made by this studio that I really like called Analgesic Productions. And they made the Anodyne series, so Anodyne 1 and Anodyne 2. Anodyne 2 I played late last year, and it blew my mind. Like, it's somewhere in my favorite games of all time. Like, I adored it. Wow. And I was like I immediately reached out to the developers. I had them on All In, interviewed them, and I just sort of like am so into their entire deal. Like, I just love what they do. And so Even the Ocean, I've had wishlisted for a while. It's currently on sale on Switch. It is also available on Xbox. And I picked it up, and it's another very good game from them. It's a platformer, but the entire like gameplay gimmick of it is everything in the game's world is governed by light and dark energy. So it's kind of like an Ikaruga kind of thing where there's these like plants all over the world that are light or dark plants that you have to either hit or avoid. And you have, rather than a health bar, you have this light and dark meter that's constantly changing on the screen depending on how much damage you take in one energy or the other. The thing is, if you're the more light energy you have, the higher your jump is, but the more dark energy you have, the faster your run speed is. So it's a platformer, but you're constantly having to adjust to kind of like solve these platforming puzzles, your jump speed or your run speed. It's very good. It has a great story, great characters, great music. Yeah, it's awesome.
I've never heard of this game. I was just looking at it. It looks I love platformers, so this looks very interesting, and that mechanic sounds super neat to try to balance.
Never seen anything like it.
No, that's very, very unique. That's awesome. I love giving indies shout outs here. So anyone that's interested, go pick that one up. It looks really interesting. I might wishlist that, see if I can get that on a sale.
Yeah, dude.
Well, in terms of what I've been playing, I need to make a confession to our patrons primarily because we have a tier over at Patreon called the Make Me Suffer tier. where they get to vote every few months for a awful game to make me play. And the point of it is to make me have a miserable time. And the
Yeah,
last time they did it was Bloodborne, I believe. I talked about that on
I remember
Twitter.
this.
And this time it was The Artful Escape, which I was like, I don't think this game is bad. It had a pretty good review scores. I've heard people talk about it in a very positive light. So I'm like, okay, this is what you voted for. I'm gonna go play The Artful Escape. I hate this game. I genuinely, and the only reason I'm talking about it here instead of making the Patreon video like I should is I actually made the video, guys, and then I accidentally deleted the video.
Oh no!
So there is a video of everything I was gonna say about this game, gone, lost in the ether forever. Okay, so I am sorry, patrons. I had some good jokes in there. All right, it's lots of depression jokes about but
Well,
I nailed it and then I deleted it. But I did not like this game in this. It's not even a very long game. It's like 3 hours long.
that's what
And
I heard.
I got like 60% of the way through it, and I was just like, I can't do it anymore. Nothing happens. I'm just skipping along this path. Nice music plays in the background, but I barely struggle to call this a game. I don't understand what people were playing when they played this. And shout out Court Lalonde. He said he loved it, and him and me are always opposites, so I should have known I would hate it.
Of course. Yeah, it works out. Yeah.
Yeah. So, patrons, there's your make me stuffer. I had a miserable time. You accomplished your goal. I'm just sorry you didn't. No, I didn't finish it, Lachlan. I gave up, and I didn't want to admit it. I didn't want to give up, but I was genuinely like depressed. I was like, I could be playing other games.
Dang. I have not played this yet. It has been recommended to me specifically a couple of times. My co-host on All In, Eric, he loves it. And I'm a musician. I play guitar and sing and stuff. So he's like, you would love this game. You need to play it. And I just haven't gotten around to it yet. But
I feel like there's something I would love if you did play it and then you let me know your thoughts, because I feel like there's something I just missed. Like something I just didn't get about the game. And I'm just clicking through text boxes of nonsense, like genuine nonsense, and then sliding down hills, playing air guitar, like playing guitar. And I'm like, okay. So I missed something, but I played some other games. The Quarry. Are you familiar with this?
I am familiar with The Quarry. I haven't played it, but I'm familiar with it. Yeah.
Okay. So super massive games. I know people, I know they're not like they're not the best games. Okay. Let's call it like it is. But I genuinely have a good time playing through them, especially with my girlfriend. These are games. She's not much of a gamer. We'll play Kirby together, and then we'll play these games together. And it's fun because it has sort of a couch co-op element where you can pass the controller back and forth. But what we found is what she likes to do is make all the decisions about like, should we hide? Should we run? Should we say this to certain characters? So all I'm doing is playing the game, and then she's making all the decisions, choosing who lives or dies. I'm not saying anything. I'm like, just tell me which one to pick. And that's whatever happens is what happens. And it's like watching a horror movie together. So you get that, and we love horror movies. So it really it's a great time, but then I'm getting through another game. I'm enjoying it. It's not the best. I heard this one was better than the Dark Picture games. I'm not seeing that so far, but I'm going to we're almost done with it. It's not a very long game. It's like 6 hours long. So these are very short experiences, but again, it's not very scary either. So I'm kind of let down on that. And we turn the lights off to try to make it more scary. Nothing's going on. But yeah, just a fun time there. And then the last game I need to talk about, just to come full circle, everyone. Trails of Cold Steel 4, baby.
Oh, snap.
Okay, last week I said I was playing Trails of Cold Steel 3. Now I'm playing Trails of Cold Steel 4. I have gone through 4. I'm over halfway done with this one. So I will have gone through 4 Trails of Cold Steel games between March and the end of April. is my goal. So those 2 months,
Holy
I've
crap, dude.
really smashed out this JRPG series, and it was funny because I have a calendar at work, and I'm like, have Act 2 done by this date. I don't have actual meetings on there. It's like video game.
This is why everybody at Carpool says get a job, Kevin. I just want you to know this is why.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So I'm gonna knock that one out. Maybe the end of next week if I'm really efficient. If not, the week after that will be done because I had to be ready for Trails into Reverie, which comes out in July. So I have like 2 months that I could have like slowly gone through these, but instead I was like, I need to finish all of them now.
Wow.
And 4, just for the record, for anyone's wondering, not as good as the other 3 so far.
Really?
Not as good as the other 3. It's weird because 1 and 2 are very much like a contained. They're like their own little story, and then 3 almost felt like a reboot where it keeps the characters, but it kind of remakes 1. Like you do a lot of the same beats where instead of like the student, you're the teacher now, and you get like new students, and you kind of go through the same rigmarole that you did in the first game over again, but from a different perspective. And now this game is basically Cold Steel 2, but instead of like just your class, you get to bring in like every other Trails character that's ever existed into one location and like have 90 characters to choose from when I'm picking my 8-person team. I'm like, I get paralysis, man. I'll be sitting there trying to choose and I'm like, I want you, but I also want you, and there's just not enough slots. So who do I pick?
Oh man. Yeah, I would be intimidated by that. Kevin, let me ask you this. This one of them waifu games? This one of them waifu games?
It's one of them waifu games. It's one of them waifu games. I won't say. So you pick. It's weird because the Trails from Zero and Trails to Azure, and then these games you have like bonding moments. You have romantic moments with the characters, which I don't know if are in the Sky games, but in Cold Steel especially, they're way more prominent. Like the other 2, the Azure and Zero, they're kind of just hinted at, like their romantic language, but there's never anything like specific. These games, you'll have characters kissing and like
there it is.
It's weird because the Cold Steel games almost feel more casual. They're trying to take a more approachable style where you can confess your love in 1 and then the saves like transfer through them. So your characters will remember like, oh, we had this really like endearing moment in this previous game. And I've stuck with the same character throughout the entire game where you start as high school students. So it's like, okay, it's a little waifu, all right, maybe. But now they're adults, all right? Now they're in their 20s and it's like, all right, we're good.
It's all on the up and up now.
It's all on the up and up now, all right? So Romeo and Juliet laws, all right? That's the thing.
Oh my gosh.
But my character that I've had throughout the entire time, he was having a bonding moment yesterday. She literally grabs him by the throat, pins him against the wall, and then kisses him. And I was like,
moly.
This is the most like aggressive romantic scene I've ever seen.
Aye.
Ghostly March in the chat, kissing, that's so lewd. Keep it to hand holding.
Keep it to hand holding.
And it's weird. It's you know what I like about this is every time you meet a female character, they'll always hug the main protagonist, like really, and then all the other characters like, oh, he's such a playboy, like, oh, look at him getting all the girls, and then you only pick one, and they're like, but like they know you're going on like dates with other people. She's like, there might be other girls you're interested in. I'm like, maybe you should have thought about that before you pinned me against the wall.
Holy moly, I did not expect this to get hot and heavy over here, Kevin. I'm not gonna lie to you.
What are you gonna do? Matt understands. Matt, it's so funny playing this game because I'll DM Matt Sawinski, obviously, and just be like, I can't believe what's happening.
Oh yeah,
so good.
I love Matt so much. He's one of the most excitable people I've ever met, and I feel like he and I DM all the time too, and I feel like 99% of our DMs are just in all caps about something or other. So yeah, I can relate.
Yeah, like the big plot. I remember the big plot twist at the end of Cold Steel 1. I just all caps it. I was like, that was that guy. So good, man. Having a great time. I can't wait. That's it's like, oh, I'm
Nice.
sitting here. I'm like, I love this series. I need to just spread the word more. But everyone's probably sick of me talking about it at this point.
You do you, man. Look, that's the only way these things get that recognition. You gotta fly the flag for them, dude.
Well, we can move on from what we've been playing and get into the news because we got some good topics. Now we're gonna start. I know I sent you a topic list, but I
Yeah.
actually threw one in here because it broke last night, or was it today? I don't remember when this actually broke, but or did I tell you about this one? Either way, Redfall's at 30 FPS, guys. So
Oh yeah.
ahead of its May 2nd launch, Arcane has confirmed that Redfall will not have a performance mode on Xbox consoles at launch. The official Redfall Twitter states performance mode will come at a later date, and at launch, Xbox Series X will run at 4K 30 FPS, and Series S will run at 1440p 30 FPS. Seth, Twitter is alive with the fury of performance mode here. How are we feeling? Do you think this is something people should really be getting upset about because they're going at Arcane here?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. And you know, I live in Nintendo land lookout. I'm very used to things not hitting 60 FPS, all right? I'm just going to be real with you. But for me, I look at this and I'm like, there are people who, you know, they bought these expensive consoles, and this is a first party. This is kind of like one of the really big, with the exception of, I guess, Hi-Fi Rush. This is like the first like really big Xbox exclusive release. There's a lot of hype behind it, and I feel like, and I was even reading like the people who were previewing it were playing it on PC at 60 FPS.
Yep.
So it was even like you're almost like towing the line of like false advertisement a little bit. And I guess the 60 FPS is coming as like a patch later on. So for me, I'm almost like, why not? I would almost rather you just delay it, to be honest, to make sure you have that at launch. For me, I'm like, just push it a month, 2 months, however long it takes to get this thing to come correct when it's ready. Because I feel like you're taking the wind out of your own sails, and any hype that you had is already kind of like fizzling and dying before the game even comes out. So.
Yeah, we're very much of the same mindset there. Where if they need to delay it a few weeks, is the hope that the performance patch comes within a few weeks. It could be longer than that. Who knows? I know I'm not a game developer. If it needs longer than that, though, like I would rather you actually push it into July or whenever when the patch comes, because you're gonna hurt your product, especially when reviewers either get a Xbox code and then it runs at 30, and they're going to ding you for that. There is no doubt in my mind that this game will not score as highly if you give them 30 FPS codes, or you give them only PC codes, and then their reviews don't translate to the Xbox consumers, which what's the point? It's a cyberpunk situation again, where we're not painting an accurate picture of what people are actually going to be playing. And I don't like that. It's leaving a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, because this is a big release. It's not the Starfield hype levels that we have, but it is supposed to be one of the highlights of Xbox's year. And people have already turned because we're less than a month out, and you held this information until 3 weeks from launch, where you knew that you clearly knew this ahead of time. Like there's no way that they didn't know, when they had everyone at their previews a few weeks ago playing on PC, that they were like, consoles are not going to be hitting this. Like I don't know if they told the people there, and like you can't tell them under NDA that like, oh, the Xbox is only going to be 30, and so they're just getting this, or maybe they're just getting this information now like everyone else. Who knows? But I think it's a bad look for Xbox to have a first party game not hit 60 FPS in a first person shooter. I think I said to people, I was like, 2023, the year of our Lord, and we're getting a 30 FPS first person shooter. I don't know what's happening. It's mind-boggling to me.
It's a bad look for sure. And it also, like, for me, I was already a little bit worried about the release timing, because, like, again, huge game. I'm glad it's coming out. I think the game itself looks fun. I'm actually looking forward to playing it. But it comes out, I think, what, a week, 2 weeks before Zelda?
Mm-hmm.
And I know they're different audiences, but it's still like very much gonna be dominating the conversation in May. And so I'm like, you could have delayed this thing to June, July, like you're saying, and you could have avoided all of this stuff. Like, you could have had the patch out ready to go at launch, and you could have gotten out of the way of like one of the biggest games of the year.
Yeah, I'm not like I've never been overly excited for Redfall. I'm excited because I think it could be a fun co-op game. That's really where
Right.
my excitement comes from, is playing with my friends. Will I still try it? Yes. We've played 30 FPS games for years, guys.
Of
Like
course.
again, on the Switch, still playing, so I'm sub 30. Okay, I played
Very much so.
I played Fire Emblem Warriors last year.
Pokemon.
Okay,
Look.
yeah, I played.
Forget about
I
it.
had a great time with Pokemon last year. Okay, I'm used to it. Will it ruin my experience? No. Will it impact it negatively? Yes, to a certain extent, because it's not going to feel as fluid. It's not going to feel as responsive, or the shooting's not going to feel like it should, which is so weird to me because they should have just designed it 60 FPS from the start. And I actually, I said this because most people don't know, majority of people actually choose quality mode. They don't choose frame rate mode, which surprises me, and I think surprises the large portion of the hardcore gaming audience, people out here
Right.
listening to these kind of podcasts. But the majority of people want the better looking pictures. So I think they're prioritizing based on those metrics, but it is going to upset the hardcore.
It's a good point. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah. So Redfall, I'll still play it. I hope you're fun, but this is a bad look, especially, and I won't make this console worry, but I said this, all right. I was playing God of War Ragnarok at like 120 FPS, okay, and
Right.
that game looks a lot better than Redfall's art
Like,
style.
what's your
Okay?
excuse? All right,
Yeah, yeah.
come on.
What optimization genies we got working here? All right, we need to
Yeah.
up the game. So it's disappointing, but I'm hoping it's still a good game. Um, we can move on though, because Joseph Staten has left Xbox. This comes from Rebecca Valentine over at IGN and was confirmed by Joseph himself on Twitter. He says, "Hey folks, I am indeed leaving Microsoft. I'll have more info to share soon, but for now, I'd just like to thank all my Xbox colleagues for all their understanding and support as I embark on a new adventure." Now, for those unfamiliar, Joseph Staten worked on a lot of Halo projects. He was at Xbox Publishing for a while. He came back to 343 to get Halo Infinite over the line. He's a writer by trade, so he has seemingly left Microsoft in all capacity now. Seth, how are we feeling about this? Is this bad news, good news, any news?
I mean, I hope it's good for him. I hope he winds up, going somewhere that makes him happy, wherever that winds up being. I'm a big fan of his. He was like lead writer on my two favorite Halo games, Halo 2 and ODST. Those are my two favorites, and he, was big onto those. And I remember, watching the Halo 2 vidocs and seeing his head, the talking head segments with Joseph Staten. I like him a lot. And look, Halo Infinite had a very tumultuous development, very, very labored development. He kind of came in to like right the ship, and he's also kind of like the keeper of the lore when it comes to Halo and stuff. So he has had, to Ghostly March in the chat's point, he has had a lot of Halo on his back. And now that Halo Infinite's kind of where it is, I think he probably feels comfortable to peace out, and I hope he goes somewhere he's happy.
Yeah, we don't know what he's doing yet. He could be going to another studio as a writer. He could be making his own studio, which we've seen a lot of people. I know we've had quite a few people from Playground Games go and open up their own studios recently. It's becoming more of a trend to, once you make a name for yourself, Kojima, for example, like they go and make their own studios. And obviously Joseph Staten's not on the level of like a Kojima-esque figure, but he is someone that, if he wanted to open a studio, I assume a lot of his industry peers would be well on board to come join and make a new project with him, just because of the name recognition he does have. So it could be that. That would be exciting. My big takeaway is I don't know why people are surprised, because he's a writer and he wrote the story for Halo, but Halo isn't having any more story content for the foreseeable future. This has been confirmed by multiple people. Halo Infinite's not getting story DLC. They're just focusing on the live service multiplayer aspect. So what would he have to do there? He would
Right.
twiddle his thumbs. He's not writing anything. Let the man go do writing.
Yeah.
So it's a completely reasonable move in my opinion. I'm just excited to see what he does next. I think that's really more of what I'm looking forward to is like new studio, new game. Where does he go? That'll be the more exciting news than him leaving Xbox. I know he did go back to Xbox publishing, but I mean he's done that for years. It could just be a case of he wants a new challenge.
Yeah, agreed. I think he was part of the team that did Recore as well, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not sure.
But yeah,
look.
I think I'm almost positive he was part of the Recore. Either he was, I don't know if he wrote for it or if he was just part of like the
He did write for it. I never played that game. I know my brother. I know my brother actually really liked that game. He underrated. Oh, he wrote Crackdown 3 as well, which me and Luke Lore shout out. It's a good game. It's a good game.
It's a good game. It's good. It's good.
Not a great game, but it's a good game.
Yeah.
Ghostly March in the chat. Recore gets too much hate. It's a good game.
I agree.
So, good luck to Joseph. We'll see what he does next. But let's talk. We just had a big animated movie come out this last weekend, Seth, with the Mario movie. But we're getting a new one apparently in 2025 because the Minecraft movie finally has a release date. Warner Brothers has updated its release calendar, and included in that is the, I gotta admit, semi-forgotten Jason Momoa Minecraft movie. And apparently it'll hit theaters April 4th, 2025. Seth, are you a Minecraft guy? Are you excited for a Jason Momoa-led Minecraft movie?
I actually didn't know Jason Momoa was attached to it. That's funny. I can't even imagine what that's going to be like. I mean, I feel like everybody has had like their moment with Minecraft. Like, even if you're not like a big Minecraft fan, I feel like everybody's at least like given it a shot. Maybe had like I had like a weekend where I was way into Minecraft or whatever, and then like sort of I'll go back to it every so often. My wife actually loves Minecraft. She plays it regularly still. Every now and then I'll go in, do some co-op stuff with her or whatever, but I'm not the biggest Minecraft guy in the world. I actually enjoyed they did that Minecraft story mode Telltale game or whatever. I liked that well enough. So I'm thinking about the movie. I'm wondering if it's going to be kind of like that, but with Jason Momoa. I'm like, I could see that. I could be into that.
Listen, we all doubted Chris Pratt, okay, with the Mario movie. And that movie was fantastic, in my opinion. It was a lot of fun. It wasn't nearly the story you came up with over at the Nintendo Drive.
I know. Mine was better.
I will agree. I think yours was better. I didn't think the story was amazing for the Mario movie, but I thought it was a fun movie, which is all I needed. I enjoyed my entire time there. So, Minecraft, I have a little less excitement for because I'm not a fan of that IP. I'm a fan of the Mario IP. I'm a fan of the Halo IP, Last of Us, like those adaptations. Minecraft's a little harder sell for me, mainly because I'm known as the Minecraft hater here. All right, I hate Minecraft. I actively crap on it often. My biggest tweet ever got me attacked by hundreds of Minecraft kids on Twitter because I dared to say Banjo-Kazooie was better than Minecraft Steve.
Well, that's just true.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So in terms of, I'm not going to doubt Jason Momoa is based on my name, but Chris Pratt could do it. I'll give Jason Momoa. I'll wait to see what Jason Momoa can do. Hopefully it's good. I'd like to know, is it going to be an original story? Are they going to pull from what you just said with this Minecraft story mode? Because as far as I know, there isn't really a Minecraft story, but I can see something just fun for kids where it's like Steve and then you have the dragons and just like cute little things going on.
Yeah, like a Lego movie kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like just random stuff that's like jokes, fun animation. That's all it really needs to be, because like it or not, and I definitely don't like it, the movie's going to make crazy money. The amount of people that will see this movie.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Yeah, Amon's right. Kevin hates Minecraft more than Tottenham. It's close. It's close, but I do hate Tottenham. So good luck to Jason Momoa. We'll wait to see 2025. But Seth, finally, the time we've all been waiting for. Let's talk about Jet Set Radio and Persona 3.
Oh my
So
gosh. Okay.
over the weekend, new images leaked. I use that in quotations. From what appear to be the long rumored remakes of Jet Set Radio and Persona 3 have appeared online. Neither game has officially been announced. But Seth, I know you have feelings about Jet Set Radio in particular. So I want to know, what did you think of the images we saw?
The Persona 3 looks good, I think. I think the Persona 3 remake looks cool. All about that. I think that if you're going to remake one of them, Persona 3 is probably the prime candidate for a remake, right? But this came from a leaked, like, there's images, there's even like video clips from it, and we saw this clip from the Jet Set Radio remake, remaster, whatever it's supposed to be, which this is all like confusing because Sega was talking with their investors publicly like a year ago that they wanted to take IP that they had like Jet Set Radio and Crazy Taxi and make like super games out of them, whatever that means. I don't know if that means games as a service. I don't know, but they were talking about doing this a while ago. And now we're getting this footage, and it's like, I don't know if this is supposed to be a remake of the first Jet Set Radio, if this is test footage, just sort of like shop around a new Jet Set Radio game. But this art style that they have in this leak, I just don't like it. I just don't. Like, Jet Set Radio has always been very stylized. Very like rough lines, very colorful, cell shaded. Jet Set Radio Future is still, like, on original Xbox, still one of the best looking. Like, you could throw that game out today, and I think it's gorgeous still, and completely holds up. And again, it's all this vibrancy and like stylized like anime look to it. And then they have this test footage, which, does have like a little bit of like a stylized flavor to it, but the colors are so muted. The proportions of the characters, like I tweeted this out. Yeah, it looks like a GTA 5 mod or something. Like, I don't know. It is not hitting for me, but I'm at this point. I'm such a starved Jet Set Radio fan. JSRF came out like 22 years ago. So like, and there's been all this licensing mumbo jumbo. You can't play it on anything more modern than an Xbox 360. So like, I'm at this point where I'll kind of take what I can get. But just by first blush, seeing this like leaked footage, I'm not thrilled with it. I'm not gonna lie to you.
So if this is what the game looks like, are you still gonna pick it up?
I'll still play it. Yeah, okay. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. But I'm also, the thing about Jet Set Radio is, and I'm so obsessed with this franchise. I've done a lot of like research and reading developer interviews and stuff. The developers of Jet Set Radio, specifically the original and JSRF, they have said like they haven't gone back to the well on Jet Set Radio because they're older now. These are games that are made by, back then they were in their 20s. The average age of a person working on JSRF was, I think, 21. I mean, they were kids. And it had that youthful energy, that kind of like anti-authoritarian energy to it. So this to me feels like, hey, we have a franchise that a lot of people are nostalgic for. So let's cash it in. Let's get people to make a new one. But I don't think it's ever going to have that same kind of energy to it that the originals had.
Yeah, these my first impression when I saw the leaked images for Jet Set was, where's the color gone? Because it just isn't popping out at me. It looked very, like you said, muted, which was disappointing. And then I was like, why is everyone so tall and lanky? That's
I know.
Literally what I was like, this is not what they look. I have them in my brain very clearly, and it's not what they look like.
You look at this box art for JSRF, and it is just, again, rough lines, hyper stylized, colorful. Like what we saw in that leaked footage is not this. Like they're trying to make it look like realistic, and that's the last thing I want JSRF to look like.
You know what this might be, and I'm completely conspiracy theory time, but Seth, I think you you probably know about this game. You like Bomb Rush Cyberpunk.
Totally.
Okay, that game's supposed to. I think it's coming out this year. All right,
Yeah,
I don't know when
supposed to be
the
this summer.
yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
when the remake's coming out, but maybe Sega saw, hey, they're doing a Jet Set thing over here. Maybe we put out a competitor, which is kind of the feeling I get with Iodine Chronicles, 100 Heroes, and then they're putting out, and then Konami's suddenly like,
Suikoden.
Suikoden, here's some remasters. So it kind of looks to me like the big company sees the smaller companies putting out games that are very inspired by things they own, and they're like, well, they're going to go with the name recognition over these new things. We can make some money here if we put them out in a similar time frame. So I hope
Yeah.
that's not the case. That would suck because I think Bomb Rush Cyberpunk looks dope.
Oh my god, that is probably. I have a couple of games that are kind of like it is for sure one of my top like most anticipated games of the year. I am so excited for that game because it looks perfect. Like it looks like fine, I'll do it myself. Thanos moment. If you're not going to make Jet Set Radio, I will. And to that point, like Team Reptile has that youth to them. They have that, Lethal League, which is their previous game, is already basically like what if Jet Set Radio was a fighting game. And like, so they're already like halfway there. So for them to make this, it makes sense. To your point about Sega maybe feeling like they wanted to sort of come out with like if it's a remake of the first one or JSRF or something like that to compete, maybe that's true, but they have had so many opportunities to do other things with this franchise. Phil Spencer, even recently, IGN did an interview with Phil Spencer that I watched where he was like, yo, like nothing would make me happier than to get Jet Set Radio on modern consoles. But he kind of like said without saying it's a licensing issue with Sega. And then, on top of that, I did a lot of research. I made my first ever like video essay was researching the canceled Jet Set Radio Wii port that was, or the new game rather for Wii that was in development. There was a developer who was shopping it around. They hired an artist that I've become friends with, Corey Lewis, who did a bunch of concepts and designs for it. They even had a patent in place called Wii Spray, where you'd be able to use the Wii remote like a graffiti like can and shake it around like graffiti can and whatnot. And yeah, like they were working on it. But Sega put the kibosh on it, and so I'm almost like you've had all these chances to keep Jet Set Radio relevant throughout the years, and you've squandered it, and now somebody else is coming out with it,
Yeah, now you care when
right.
someone else, yeah, now you care. You know what that Wii graffiti thing reminds me of? I don't know if you're infamous Second Son. You shake the controller
Shake the
to
controller.
do this. Oh my god, I hated it. I was like, what's going on here? Oh man. Yeah, listen, I hope they put some color back in it before they ship this out the door. I'll give the game a chance because it is like, whether it's a remake, whether it's a reboot, whatever, it's a classic franchise that I think deserves to come back. But talking about Persona, because that was the other one that got leaked.
Yeah.
I know I actually tried to play Persona 3 Portable when it came to Game Pass. I put a few hours into it, and then I said, I'm done.
Hard to go back to, right?
Very hard to go back to, which I love Persona 4. I love Persona 5 Royal, like got the platinum for that. I put over 100 hours into Persona 4 Golden on Steam. I love those games. Persona 3 Portable felt so dated to me because like there's no cutscenes for one in this version, but Tartarus in itself is a slog, and that's the only way to go there. And I understand because like you see that this is what they started, and then they went like Mementos is clearly inspired by Tartarus, but Mementos is such a better implementation of what this
Way
is.
Better.
I literally could not play it, and it sucked because I wanted to see the story. I've played like the fighting Persona games, so I'm familiar with some of the characters in Persona 3, and like I wanted to get more familiar with them. But Ghostly March in the chat says all this has done is make me confident that not playing P3P on Game Pass was the right choice, and that's kind of how I'm feeling, where the screenshot looks great. I am very much like, I'm just going to wait for the remake and enjoy what is sure to be a better, more modern experience. But also, why did they put out P3P if they were going to make a remake?
Money, a little bit of that cheddar cheese, my friend. That's really, and it was an easy thing for them to do. It's like, let's put Persona 5 Royal finally on like Switch or whatever. Let's, it was like a good win for them to put these games on all these different platforms, and I don't think it was very difficult for them to do it.
The remake needs to be on everything at launch. Like, I don't think they can't go back to just having PlayStation exclusivity on this series. The series is more popular than ever. You're giving all these other platforms a taste and letting it gain popularity over there. It's been asked for, especially on the Switch side, because one of the things I like to do to feel alive again is go back and watch old Smash Brothers reveals.
Totally.
And one I always go back to is Joker at the Game Awards. I love watching the reaction to that, because a lot of people were like, "Oh, it must be like a Switch version," because like it drops and it's like, what else would it be? And that's him in Smash, and it's like, okay, but that has always just indicated to me like there's an audience for those games, especially on Nintendo consoles. Maybe less so on Xbox, because JRPGs just don't sell as, despite what I try to do. I buy them, I play them. People don't seem to support them as much on the Xbox console. I still want those games to come everywhere. And this one, because it's a remake, because it's existing in the original form on Xbox, on Nintendo, I think it would be a little unfair not to give them the remake and let the players who maybe tried the older version experience the newer version.
I think they will. I think when it does come out, and I've seen some people question like the validity of these leaks too. That seems real to me, to be honest. And a lot of these Sega news sites, there's a Sega Bits was like, hey, this tracks with images we received like a year ago from the Jet Set Radio remake. So like this seems legit. And the Persona 3 remake in particular is too high effort to not be real. It's been rumored
forever too. Like by multiple people have said that this remake is happening and like whole lot. And I'm like, I firmly believe, like, even if Jet Set somehow wasn't real, which I think it is real, these look real to me. I think Persona 3 is undoubtedly a real remake that is happening. Whether it's it might be I think it's a stopgap between Persona 6, which I know people are like, oh, it could be next year. I'm like, that game is not coming out next year.
I don't think so either.
That game is years away. You don't know Atlas if you think that game's coming out next year. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that. I want to play a modern version, but hopefully Jet Set is everything we want it to be.
I'm hoping, man. Just literally, I'm not kidding. Just literally re-release JSRF on modern consoles, and I'm not kidding you. You could put that on the shelf next to anything else today, and like it would be, And I'm biased. I get it. It's like my second favorite game of all time behind Majora's Mask. But JSRF, I played it this year, and I still think it's like heads and shoulders above a lot of games that are coming out today. So.
Oh, okay. All right. Switch port. Make it happen.
Yes, please.
PlayStation 2, I don't really care where it goes. It can be on everything. It can be a multi-platform game. Like, just because it's an Xbox original, like, I don't care at this point.
Just don't make me dust off my original Xbox just to play this thing, man. I just want to play it on some kind of modern hardware.
Bro, the Duke controller, though, all right? You could you got the black and white buttons.
Yep, the black and white buttons. I'm busting that bad boy out just to play JSRF like once a year. It's nuts. It's madness.
Yeah. All right, Sega. I like you, Sega, but make some weird decisions. Anyway, story number 5. There's a new cloud deal. Per Phil Spencer, Microsoft and EE are expanding our partnership with a 10-year commitment in cloud gaming to bring PC games built by Activision Blizzard following the acquisition and Xbox to EE customers. We are committed to bring more games to more people, however they choose to play. This is the fourth, I think, cloud deal in the last few weeks. They're just signing up with everyone. And I know EE is a big kind of provider over in the UK. They've sponsored a lot of events that I watched on YouTube events, like soccer charity matches and stuff. So from my perspective, just looks like a good deal. More business, more games, cloud streaming.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think they're just trying to put as much ink on as many contracts as they can at this point. Why not?
Yeah, I mean,
win-win.
It's funny to me that we've seen apparently the CMA is reversing course, and like everyone except the United States is kind of like, yeah, we're probably gonna let this thing through, and then the FTC is still very holding firm. So in my mind, I'm like, they keep signing these deals, I think, to try to appease the FTC at this point, because the other ones
Yes.
have kind of been like, your work is done. You've done enough contract signing, but they're like, nah, we need to get the US on board here. So we're going to sign as many deals. Still waiting for PlayStation to sign. I don't think they're going to. I think they're very steadfast and that we're going to fight this until the end. And then we'll see what happens there. I don't know. I don't really have much more to say besides that.
No, me either. Yeah, they'll be all right.
All right. This is the story. I didn't even make a little scrolly thing at the bottom for it. Ubisoft Plus is on Xbox now. I don't know if you saw this.
Right.
Seth,
Yes.
Ubisoft Plus is finally available on Xbox consoles. The subscription service will give you access to over 60 Ubisoft games, which is nearly half as many available on the PC version of the service. In order to get the subscription on Xbox, you're required to buy the multi-access plan, which gives you access to PC and Amazon Luna as well as Xbox, but will run you $17.99 a month.
Ooh. Yikes.
What are we feeling about Ubisoft Plus here?
It's a weird one, man. Like, that seems expensive to me. I mean, I don't know. Is it? I'm speaking from a place of ignorance here, Kevin. Because is Ubisoft Plus? Is every Ubisoft game available on Ubisoft Plus like day one?
I believe so.
Okay.
I think that's its big draw. Is Ubisoft Plus day.
That's what I'm curious about, because if that's the case, then like if there's a new Ubisoft game you want to play, then $17.99 a month, just like sign up for the month or something, play it, and then bounce out. That doesn't seem too bad to me. But for like to keep a subscriber base, it seems a little strange. I'm a little surprised that they didn't do didn't EA go this route where they kind of bundle it with Game Pass Ultimate now?
Yeah, so just to answer your question, it says Ubisoft Plus does include their new releases.
Okay.
So
yeah.
it is their new releases and catalog of their old classic games, which they have over 100 in there right now. So it isn't every Ubisoft title ever, but it is their new releases and the catalog. So EA Play, to answer your other question, is bundled in with Game Pass Ultimate. EA Play, though, and I made this point when people were surprised that this wasn't some sort of like bundle in with Game Pass thing, which I don't know why anyone thought that was going to be, but EA Play costs $5 a month as opposed to the $18 here for Ubisoft.
Huge difference.
Huge difference. So the only way this would get bundled in is they were like, Game Pass is $30 for to include this. Like that's the only way I can see that ever happening. I'm very much like, this might be a bold take. I know people get on me a lot because I crap on Ubisoft a lot. I don't think they've made a good game since Rayman Legends in like 2013.
Fair. I mean, I liked, I'm not like the hugest Ubisoft guy either, especially not in the modern era, but I do know there are a lot of people who are into that sort of thing. So like if it were me, if I were the type of person, like if I saw a Ubisoft game come out that I wanted to play, and to me, I'm like, I'll just pay the $17.99 a month, play it, and then bounce, and I could see myself doing that, but,
I think I said it's laughable that this costs more than Game Pass Ultimate for what you get.
Fair.
I think the only way people subscribe to the service is because they're like, oh, I can buy it for $60 or I can subscribe for $17, play it for the month, and then bounce out of the service. That's the only reason I see to get this, and it's on a limited time basis. I don't know who is subscribing to this every month and paying $18 to have access to these titles, because there just isn't that many Ubisoft games worth playing every single month. Like, what's their next game? Skull and Bones? Like, is that going to drive the subscriber base?
They just don't release them at a steady enough clip. And again, even if they're making like good games, there's just not that many of them to justify a rolling $18 a month cost. And I almost wonder if this was a situation where maybe they were in negotiations to do something with Game Pass, but they were like, we would rather we would rather make that money ourselves, but I don't know how well that's working out for them. We obviously don't get a look at their books or anything like that, Kevin. But be curious to know how it works out.
So this took over a year. It was announced in January 2022 to come to Xbox and PlayStation, I believe. It's still not on PlayStation as of today. It just came to Xbox, so I don't know what's taking them so long. And the fact that it's you pay more to get less than the PC version is very disappointing, I think, for people that do want this. However, to get the Xbox version, you also get the PC version bundled in. So that's kind of like not a fair, like, you do have to have a PC to play it, but you do have access to them. So it's kind of a weird dichotomy there with that. I just think the price is ridiculous. Like, honestly, that's my big thing where I'm like, I don't know who's going to be subscribing to this service.
At a certain point, it's like, I feel like there are a lot of people who are, I'm maxed out on my subscriptions. I'm maxed out. Right? Like, I'm not getting any more. Okay. So if you're gonna try to ask me to subscribe to like a whole new service, you kind of need to come out swinging. And I just don't. Yeah, I don't think that this is really it. But look, I'm sure there are some Ubisoft fans out there that'll lap it up. I just don't know if there's enough to sort of justify what it is. But who knows, man? Not for me.
I canceled all my TV subscriptions. I have my PlayStation and Xbox and Nintendo subscriptions, because I use those every single day. Yeah. I don't use TV. The only TV one I actively pay for is Peacock, because it's $5 a month, and everyone's like, Peacock, why? I'm like, Premier League, and
cheap.
Then they have some good shows on there. Right?
They're bleeding me dry with Netflix, bro. Netflix is crazy.
I canceled Netflix 2 years ago when they tried to charge me $17.99. I'm like, I'm out.
Woo.
Done. I'm gonna borrow this from someone else, and then they were like, we're gonna put a kibosh on that. I'm like, I don't care if you do. It's not it's my girlfriend anyway, but
it's too much. Yeah,
it's very much. It's getting a bit ridiculous with these subscriptions, and I think this one really took people off by surprise. Just judging on the reaction I saw, they were like, "What?" But, Seth, before we go, we got some listener questions. If you want to rock through those with me, so. William Outbreak says, if Microsoft had the opportunity to develop a brand new game off an existing Nintendo IP, or vice versa, Nintendo for Microsoft, what would you like to see developed? For example, I would like to see how Bethesda would develop a Zelda game, given their track record for expansive open worlds, distinct characters, customization, and multiple stories that allow you to truly craft your own unique journey and experience.
This is a good question. I mean, yeah, I always sort of go to, my love is deep in that original Xbox. These kind of, I mean, you saw me busting out, Phantom Dust and Brute Force and, and all these, Breakdown and all these like crazy random games. So I would love to see something like that. I mean, I look at an IP like Fusion Frenzy and I'm like, give that to Nintendo, right? Like, Get like Fusion Frenzy. I don't understand why that series hasn't come back in any sort of way. I would like to see something like that, or like let Nintendo develop it with that Nintendo like polish. It's basically Mario Party, anyways.
Yeah, I was gonna say, who makes Mario Party? We have an easy studio to wrap that up. You know what I would like to see, and this is weird, but I would like to see Xbox, because they're investing heavily in RPGs. I want to see them take on the Mario and Luigi series. The RPG one. Like, go full make a full-blown RPG, because that is a series I loved growing up, and unfortunately I believe the studio that used to make them closed down a few years ago, I think.
Alpha Dream,
yeah. So I want to see that come back. I'm not saying Nintendo can't do it, but I want to see, like, if I had to, in this weird scenario where they're switching IPs. The other thing I would say is I'm sure someone over there could make a Banjo-Kazooie game, because Xbox seems to want to ignore me.
Like, oh, yeah. Tell me about it. I mean, look, I would love to see a modern, like a proper Banjo-Kazooie game. Nothing would make me happier than that. But another thing I was thinking about, and this is a Nintendo IP that has sort of gone underutilized. I don't remember where. I was talking about this game recently on some podcast, but Geist on the GameCube. You ever familiar with this?
No.
Geist is a weird GameCube game that is a first-person shooter where you play as a ghost, and you possess the people's bodies when you're playing the game, and it has like these interesting multiplayer modes where you're like playing capture the flag, but it's with like host bodies instead of like a flag. It's a really interesting game that Nintendo published on GameCube, and I really loved it. And it'd be kind of neat to see that come back. I could see Microsoft tackling get an Arcane on that, and I think that'd be kind of neat.
You know, I didn't know this game had a DS version, DS game. But you know what IP I need, and I think an Xbox Studio could make it because it's very multiplayer focused. Is Custom Robo.
Oh yeah,
I loved the GameCube version of Custom Robo. I would love to, like, if we were switching IPs, give it to an Xbox Studio. Let them just have a good time making a little arena shooter. That would be so awesome.
that'd be super fun. Yeah, just like high quality, like the good graphics and everything. Yeah.
Man, I'm looking at this game now. GameCube's such a good console. I don't know what Sean's talking about.
I agree. Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about either. 99% of the time, but that in particular.
All right. Next question comes from It's Kyle, who says, "What's the worst type of environmental biome in a game, and why is it hands down desert?"
Oh, strong argument. Yeah, I mean, like, desert is a good answer.
Mm-hmm.
I might go, especially when they have like quicksand. That sucks. Like, who wants to deal with that in any way? But like, I tend to enjoy snowy, like ice biomes, but it really does like live and die on how well it feels to traverse. Like if it's slippery the whole time, like that kind of sucks, you know? So it depends.
I have to say, I think desert is the worst, not because of any gameplay mechanics, but because it just looks so boring. To look at. It's just brown, nothing's going on. Like, it's so dull. I don't like it, as opposed to every other biome where you have color and just it feels like the world's alive, as opposed to like someone didn't finish developing the area, so they're like, it's a desert now.
Yeah, and I'm even thinking like in terms of like desert biomes in some games, like Banjo-Kazooie, Gobi Desert's probably my least favorite level in that game.
The music is great for that.
Oh, it's
level,
great.
but
it's
the
great.
Level sucks.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And even like even Mario 64.
Ukulele? You ever play Ukulele?
Yeah.
The desert level in that one sucks too.
Always sucks.
Always
I think
sucks.
they're onto something. I think that's probably the right call.
The desert tracks in Mario Kart also suck, especially
usually
when you get off course and then you have that weird, like, I have to go really slow.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god,
carve it into the sand and it's all dirt flying up everywhere. Yeah.
And then whatchamacallits, the little things that like bend over and like hit you all the time in Mario.
Oh yeah.
I can't. Desert sucks. We don't need deserts.
Yeah, good call.
All right, Roasty Co comes in with the last two questions. He says, "Does Xbox need a new controller? / What would you like to see in a new controller? And what's the hype out of 10 for Starfield right now?"
I think the Xbox controller is great. Personally, there's not really much I would change about it, if I'm being honest with you. I think it's a little weird. I mean, I get why they do it, but I think it's a little strange that it still has like batteries that it can use. Is a little odd. Everybody else has kind of moved on, but at the same time, I'm sure there are people out there that appreciate that inclusion. But aside from that, I don't really have any complaints with the Xbox controller. I think it's great.
No, the only thing I've heard people, first of all, like ergonomically, I think Xbox has the best controller. It feels the most comfortable in my hands anyway. And then I would say the Switch Pro controller is second, and the DualSense is a very good controller. I think it's the first good PlayStation controller. I think every other one before this has been terrible, but the DualSense is really good. So the argument I often hear for a new Xbox controller is put like haptics and the stuff that the DualSense has into the Xbox. But
then you
controller.
Get no battery life, just like the DualSense.
That's why I have to charge my DualSense. Do you know how many times I've plugged in my controller or charged it playing the Trails game so far.
Oh my
The
god, dude, I
last
can
month
only
of my
imagine.
controller has been plugged. I'm like, I might as well just sit in front of my TV with this tiny cord
You're
and just
lucky
play.
to get 5 hours out of that
I
bad boy.
know. And then they put out an elite control, the Edge or whatever, and it's like, oh, you can play for 3 hours or whatever.
It's wild. I don't get it. How do you get away with this? The Pro Controller's got like 80 hours of battery life.
My Pro controller sits there for weeks. I pick it up. It's like, oh, you still go? Like, you're still alive. Look at this.
Just works. Just trucking
died.
along.
I haven't charged this thing in 3 months. If they need to take the Xbox controller, put the Pro controller battery inside it, and then the haptics, like just combine them, and that would be the best controller. All right, that's what we need to do.
Yeah,
I don't.
And I'll be real with you, Kevin. I would probably, if they gave me the option to go into the PlayStation options and like turn off all that crap just to get another, like even another like 2 or 3 hours of battery life out of it, I would do it. Like,
I turn off Rumble in every game. Just
oh, do you?
knows. Yeah, I don't like the feeling of controllers vibrating in my hands, which I've been told it's actually bad for your hands to have.
I'm
that.
sure it is.
It's like it can mess up your hands, like if you have enough and like
muscular dystrophy or whatever.
I turn it off. Maybe it's like weird paranoia, so I don't ever care about that. I like the adaptive triggers in some games, but they definitely need to be turned off in other games. And Captain Logan in the chat, shout out you and Luke for stopping by. You say that's because there's no voice chat going through it. Voice chat shouldn't go through your controller. That's the worst design. I don't know what PlayStation's doing there. Do not put voice chat through your controller.
Yeah, it's got a microphone on it. Like, what are we doing?
Speaker. The only time the speaker's been good on that controller is when I'm playing Bug Snacks, and then I hear all the Bug Snacks when they say their names. Yeah. Other than that, it's like I'm playing Sackboy, and I got a 6-year-old screaming in my ear. I'm like, I can't. How do I turn this off? How do I turn this feature off? And in terms of the other question, Roasty, Starfield hype, I'm at like a 7.5. I'm like excited for it, but I'm not like jumping out of my seat for it.
Yeah, I would probably actually go a little bit lower for me. I'm probably around like a 6.5, somewhere around there. I'm pretty disenfranchised with Bethesda overall. Just in general, like, and I liked Fallout 4, really enjoyed Skyrim when that came out, played it a whole lot. Fallout 4, I was a little bit like, I was excited for it. It came out, I enjoyed it well enough, but that was when I was kind of like, a lot of other games are coming out around that same time. I look at something like The Witcher 3, and I'm like, okay, CD Projekt Red, especially at that time, smaller team, their game didn't release with a ton of bugs. It was better looking, it was just as big, just as detailed. And so I'm like, at a certain point, we have to stop giving Bethesda the free pass to just like release these games in these like buggy, unpolished states. It's like, oh, well, it's okay because it's a Bethesda game because like there's so much detail. I'm like, well, I'm playing other games that are just as detailed, look better, and are made by smaller teams. So like, it has to stop being okay at a certain point. I'm gonna pop in and try it. It's on Game Pass. Like, I'll try it out, see what the deal is. But I'm not like chomping at the bit for it either.
Yeah, my thing is I'm worried, and I'm worried I won't like it. Is really because I like space. I like what they've shown me so far. I want this to be Bethesda's Mass Effect, all right? I want like the different like branching story. Like I want all that exploration. I love space, okay? And you talk, I've heard you talk about space. Yeah. I'm just worried I won't like it because I'm not the same type of gamer I was 12 years ago when Skyrim came out. When Skyrim came out, I was like, I've loved every Elder Scrolls game I've ever touched. I don't like Fallout. To be honest, that's not my series. Something about it doesn't click with me. I love the Elder Scrolls games, so I'm like, I need this to hit. But I'm also just worried, like it's open world. That's not really my scene anymore these days. Like I tend to stick to those linear games or JRPGs or platformers is really like my section I like to hang out in, and not so much those big open world experiences. So I'm just more worried that I won't like it. So I'm not getting overly excited and then let down if I don't.
The crushing defeat. I can relate to that. Yeah, I don't know, like where I'm at with Bethesda, I try to, just like you, temper my expectations. So
yeah, I'm just fully prepared to like when we do our big discussion or whenever for Save the Game Media and everyone's like raving about Starfield, and then just me to be like, I don't really like it, guys. That was me last year with God of War Ragnarok. I'm like, I think it's fine. Like it's good. And everyone's like telling me, I'm like, you just don't understand. Like you don't know anything. I'm like,
You
okay.
don't get it, Kevin.
Yeah, you don't get it. You don't get it.
You're not deep enough to understand this game, Kevin.
Yeah, it was funny because I was like, I think Ragnarok's good, but it's just okay. But if you guys heard about Tinykin, this game is amazing.
Shout outs to Tinykin, dude. One of the best games of last year for sure.
I put it in my top 10 for our list.
Yeah.
I was like, I know nobody else has played this. It's not getting in, but I'm putting it in here.
Excellent game.
I love that game so much.
Excellent. Yeah.
I would 100%ed it if they had some way to find the one pollen I'm missing in every level.
Yes, that drove me nuts. That's like the one problem that game has is like otherwise beautiful game, one of the best 3D platformers on Switch for sure. And like, yeah, being able to like play through that game, it's got these like Pikmin kind of mechanics. Since I hope they steal the mechanic where you just automatically swap to the Tinykin that you need in the situation. Just steal that for Pikmin 4. It's a great game, but yeah, tracking down all that pollen, dude, it's rough.
I spent so long doing it, and then I'd always be missing. It'd be like 997 out of 1,000. I'm like, I can't. It's every level, guys. You're killing me here. There needs to be some way, but yeah, play Tinykin. Anyway, if Starfield lets you down, go play Tinykin.
Go. They're basically the same game. You just bounce. Yeah,
basically, there's spaceships in both. All right,
that's true. Yeah.
Seth, I've had a really good time rocking with you tonight. Do you want to let everyone know where they can find you before we go?
Sure. Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at $2 Hero. My podcasts are all NALL letter N, a Nintendo podcast. Keep Nintendo weird. And I'm on the Nintendo Drive at Carpool Gaming, part of the team over there. You can find me over there as well.
Awesome. Well, you're welcome back anytime, my friend. Had a great time with you.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. And everyone, I will see you next week. I have another special guest lined up, so you'll have to come back and see who that is. But until then, we'll see you.